Hi everyone, Armoured Pants here, and I have the next video for you in the Japanese line, which is a Tier 7, the Chi Re medium tank, and as always we have a complete guide for you. We will look at the tech spec first, and we will use blitzhanger.com, as always a fantastic Blitz asset for all blitzers. Now, this tank is the Tier 7 Japanese medium tank. In my opinion, it's the worst tank in the Japanese line. That's saying something. There's quite some bad tanks there. This is basically just a bigger Chi Toe, which is basically just a bigger Chi Nu, and therefore, in my opinion, this is a Tier 5 tank, but it's in Tier 7. It's basically just a Tier 5 tank, Tier 5 armour, Tier 5 gun, Tier 5 mobility, playing in Tier 7, just given some extra hit points to kind of keep it in the game a bit. And therefore, this tank is a dog, it is a crap box, and it is an awful tank to play. It really has nothing going for it. It has the same gun depression, as you'll see, 10 degrees as the previous tanks, the Tier 5 and Tier 6. And this tank, I mean, really just is a dog to play. You will need to get the autoloader. That at least gives it some firepower. If you're using the single shot, basically you're firing Tier 5 ammo, Tier 5 penetration, Tier 5 damage in a Tier 7. The tank has little to no armour. It's basically just a pram on tracks. It is just an awful piece of junk, and actually many people on the Japanese line stop at this thing, because when you're top tier you're going to struggle anyway. I mean, if you're up against a T43 or something of this thing, you're just going to get smashed. I mean, it can't compete. I mean, it has no armor, you're going to get spammed HE. I mean, HE is just going to come at you in all directions. Just think there's an SU-152 that can just maybe one-shot you with a HE round. I mean, really, this tank, it's got nothing going for it. It's not fast. The forward speed is 42 kilometers an hour, but it has that terrible mobility and agility. Look there at those figures. It's just an awful tank. With the autoloader, at least you can get 450 to 500 alpha roads unloading the clip, if you can get the pen, and that at least allows you to do something. But really, I mean, this tank is just terrible. It's not mobile. It's not agile. Filthy handling, low pen gun, low damage gun. Effectively, as I said at the start, a Tier 5 tank playing in Tier 7. Now you can imagine when you're up tiered, you're in a Tier 5 tank against Tier 8s. The tracks are exposed, so you need to repair kits, because believe me, you do not want to get perma-tracked in this thing out in the open, because you will die, and you will die very quickly, maybe even in like 4 or 5 seconds. Basically just as long as it takes something to aim at you, and then that's the end of you. You can see there that you may get some bounces on that small plate there, where you can get some good relative armor numbers, but don't count on it. You're going to get HE'd by everything. You are a HE magnet. As the stupid couplet of all Japanese tanks, it's not that big, but it doesn't need to be big because it has no armor, and you're just going to get spammed with HE. The tactics for this tank really are just try to stay out of trouble, try to remain unsighted. As I said with the Chi Toe, the tank before it, try ambush tactics. Try to get behind tanks, because front on or in a brawl you're going to suffer. I mean, the tactics here, it says that in a brawl it's good 1v1. That is not true. That is nonsense. If you come up against a Panther or a T43, other Tier 7 medium tanks, you are going to get smashed in this thing. It has no armor. They can ram you. They have better pen. Your shots are going to bounce. You are just going to really suffer and struggle. And that's if you come up against a player with similar skills. If you come up against a player who is better, a Unicum, Super Unicum player, you are going to get smashed, and it's going to be very unpleasant. So the whole thing about the Japanese tank line and why it's recently up on channel is that a subscriber in South Africa was actually playing this Chi Re. He was going up the Japanese line and he was really struggling. He just couldn't make it work, and he's a very good player, so he asked me if I'd take a look. So I started going up through the line, and I can certainly confirm that the Japanese line is extremely difficult to play. And also, this tank in particular is dreadful, for all the reasons that I've just outlined. But basically it's a Tier 5 tank in Tier 7, that's really why it suffers. And look at it, it's a big lumbering, slow target. that just has no armour and a terrible gun. So what more can you say? Anyway, in this game, I'm driving up to see if I can flank, and you'll see here the limitations of this tank. I come up here now, and I didn't want to go across the bridge, because if you go across the bridge and something spots you first, you're dead. So that's why I went through the water. The Bulldog obviously is a light tank. He's very similar armour profile to me, but he's got better view range, better reload, better gun. And now I'm stuck in a really bad place. In this tank, you can't go forward. You cannot face on to tanks in this tank. You just cannot. Even the T-34-85 there, which is a lower tier tank, will smash the pants out of this thing, because it has better armour and a better gun. So there's no help coming. I can't go forward. I can't go back, because if I start going back, this thing is so slow, I'm just going to get smashed. So really I have to have a plan C. So here's my plan C, which is to move the bottom of the rock face here, to move along the bottom of the rock face and try to get out of trouble. Using the cliff base, which is something I learned when I started playing, and I used to slip down that cliff because I didn't know what I was doing, that you can actually drive along the base without drowning. Probably if you're an experienced player you know that, but if you're not, it's a good way of getting around. It's slow, but it gets you where you want to go. Now, we are a tank down. I am really driving this crap box. I mean, you can see how unmanoeuvrable, unfriendly this thing is. Look at it going up the hill here. It goes up the hill really as a heavy tank would go up. In fact, some heavy tanks would go up faster than this, particularly like a Tiger. Tier 7 German heavy would go up faster than this. So I mean, you've really no advantages. By the way, if you come up against a Tiger in this thing, you are dead. There's just no two ways about it. And a Tiger P, you won't be able to pen it. You won't be able to pen at the front, and you may not even be able to pen at the sides. I mean, against this IS here, also heavily armoured, the only thing I can pen is its cupola. Nothing else, and can't pen it with anything else front on. So you can see with this tank, you know, there's nothing else. I need a plan D now, because when I tried, all of the things I've tried so far just don't work in this tank. I'm going to come up again, and this is why I said now use the auto loader, because you can see if you do get a chance to get some shots and you can do a bit of damage, and you can get a nice alpha roll in it. And we're able to clear him, and it does have quite a fast reload on the auto loader. It's less than 9 seconds, and that's pretty good. But without the auto loader, there's absolutely no point. I mean, you may as well be throwing tennis balls at the enemy. With the auto loader, at least you can get, if you can get some shots on, at least you can get a decent alpha roll, 450 to 500. But again, you see, in this tank, you cannot face up to the enemy. There's no point in me staying there. I can't support my allies. I would just die. That IS could probably one-shot me with a HE round, with the gun he has. So again, this is like the 4th different tactic I've tried in this game. Now, this is about the only thing that works with this tank, and that is sort of ambush play. If you can get up behind the enemy unseen and just put some rounds in behind them, especially if you've got the auto loader, then you can do some damage. Because you cannot face off, you cannot really brawl, you cannot really go front on. You just don't have the armour or the gun for it, and you can't even really do circle of death or hugging or anything like that, because the tank is just so unmanoeuvrable. You know, I mean, a Tiger will outmaneuver you in a brawl, in a circle of death. The Tiger has better traverse than you have. It's just incredible. The tank is just awful. You saw there, I somehow got a bounce off the IS. I have no idea how. All I can say is that I think that perhaps he didn't let the gun aim properly. Probably because he just saw it was me coming up and probably said, oh, this thing, anything with a pen, I don't really need to aim properly. But otherwise, I know I would have lost whatever 400 or 500 hit points there. And again, you know, as I said, kind of ambush, sneaky play with this thing, come in behind and get a few shots. And we've rectified this thing a little bit. Now we've pulled it back to 4v4 from a really bad position, and I was able to contribute to that a bit. Going to get some extra HP here from defending the base, put around into the IS, and I'm able to clear them. And this is why I said with the auto loader, you know, if you get a shot on like that, you can pump in 3 seconds, you can pump in all 3 rounds from the auto loader. And that at least gives the tank a little bit of firepower. Because with the single shot gun, I mean, I played several games with it, it is just dreadful. Can't tell you how bad. I mean, really, you're doing like 150, 160 alpha rolls in a tier 7 tank. You know, it's just not funny. I sense now I've done a lot of damage, so maybe perhaps as a mastery badge. I'm also thinking the bar can't be that high in this team, because who plays it and why would you? And there we go. And actually I did deliver a mastery badge in that. And thank God, because then I was able to stop playing it and move on, because it really is just awful. So almost 2.7k damage. But I think this game, it's not so much about the mastery badge, it's really just to show the limitations of this tank, that what you can't do in it. You can't go front on, you can't really flank in it, and you can't brawl, you can't circle death, you can't exchange hit points with the enemy. You really just need to get around behind or the sides of the enemy and just kind of sneakily, like a Japanese ninja, try by stealth, because that's really all you can do in this tank. I have to say I really didn't enjoy it. I said it's the worst tank in the Japanese line. It is the worst tank maybe in tier 7, and it might actually be one of the worst tanks in Blitz. I know that's saying a lot, and probably there are worse tanks, and people probably mention it in the comment section, but certainly I'm struggling to think of one now. Maybe the Shinobi, the tier 5 premium tank from the Japanese, is worse, but anyway, it's really a way below average tank. It's way below average gun. I mean, it's just awful, and please get the autoloader, because even that's the only thing that gives you a chance. Use supercharge and refined gun, you're definitely going to need them, because the gun is a crap box. 75mm gun is basically a tier 5 gun. It's more or less the same gun that's on the Chi-Nu in tier 5, and you're going to need Pramo against bigger tanks. The armour is 0, so you are attracting HE rounds like nothing on earth. You are just a HE shell magnet. As I said, try to keep out of trouble, because you can take very little damage and can be one shot by anything. And if you're up tiered, a Rim Borsig is just eating you for breakfast. It's slow tank, 42 kilometers an hour. It's not fast. It handles poorly. You saw it going up the hill there, just dreadful. The only thing you'd hope to do is ambush and then use that rapid fire in the autoloader to try to put in some damage, as I did coming up behind the Black Prince and the IS. Then you can get some results. Other than that, I can't really recommend what to do with this thing. Drive it off a cliff, maybe that's about it. The tank afterwards, the STA-1, is better. It's still not great. I mean, it can't really compare to like a T-44 or a Panther 2 or anything, but it is better than this. But there's no hurry. I mean, because you know, you need to practice playing this tank a bit, because the STA handles the same way and it has no armour, so you really need to prepare yourself for that as you move up. Not good news, I know, sorry about that guys, but I believe in being honest with you. So anyway, cheers much, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, probably didn't, but I hope you at least found it useful and forewarning. And all that's left to say is pants off.